Welcome back. Now we move on to question 3. In the diagram below, QPR is a right angle triangle with QPR equals to 90 degrees. Now they say to you, use the sketch to determine the ratio of tan 90 minus r. Now tan 90 minus r is which angle between these three? Now it must be angle Q. Why is it angle Q? We do know that angle Q plus angle P plus angle R equals 180 degrees because it's the sum of the angles in a triangle. Now if we were to make angle Q the subject, it will say 180 minus P minus R, and we know that P is 90 degrees, so 180 minus 90 minus R. So 180 minus 90 gives us 90 minus R. So angle Q is 90 minus R. So they just want you to find tan of 90 minus R. And we do know we've got saw, car, tower. So we know that tan is opposite over the adjacent. Now if we are on angle Q, the opposite is going to be PR over QP. So it's opposite over the adjacent. So tan 90 minus R is going to be equals to PR, which is opposite, over QP, which is adjacent. And then 3.1.2, they say write down the trigonometric ratio that is equal to QR over QP. Now it depends on whether you are looking at it from angle Q or you are looking at it from angle R. Now if we are looking at it from angle Q, we know that QR, it doesn't matter whether you are on Q or R, it's the hypotenuse. And then this one, the QP, is going to be the adjacent. That is us looking at this from angle Q. So that means you can say, since it's hypotenuse over adjacent, that means it must be the reciprocal of cos. In this case, the reciprocal of cos is sec. So it's going to be sec angle Q. Or if you are looking at it from angle R, you can see that now this QP is gonna be the opposite. So now we've got hypotenuse over the opposite, and we can see that it must be the reciprocal of sine, which is cosec. So it's gonna be cosec angle R. And then we go to 3.2. As -3 and -4 is a point on the Cartesian plane such that OS makes an angle of theta with the positive x-axis. And they say calculate without using a calculator the length of OS. Now the length of OS, you just, we know that this is OS. So we're just going to draw a triangle there. And then it's a 90 degrees there because it's going to be perpendicular to the x-axis. And then we know that -3 is x, so this is going to be -3. And then we know that the -4 is y, so it's going to be -4. And then we are looking for the hypotenuse. So we know the theorem of Pythagoras. So it's going to say OS is equals to the square root of x squared plus y squared. So the value of OS is gonna be x is -3 squared plus -4 squared, and obviously this is gonna give us 9. This will be 16. 9 plus 16 gives us 25, so the square root of 25 is gonna be 5 units. So we know this to be 5 units. And then obviously we are going to take this as our theta, which will give us 180 plus theta. And then now they say the value of sec theta plus sine squared theta. So it's sec theta plus sine squared theta. So sec is the reciprocal of cos, so it has to be hypotenuse over the adjacent. So the hypotenuse is 5, and then the adjacent is going to be the x, which is -3, and then it's plus sine squared theta. Sine is opposite over the hypotenuse, which means it's -4 over 5, and then you square that. Now remember that when you introduce the square root, it has to be plus or minus. So this 5, we just took the positive one because we know that the hypotenuse is always positive. So this will give us -5 over 3 plus 16 over 25. Obviously they said without using a calculator, so you can just find the LCD there and then you calculate. So in fact you can actually just punch this on your calculator and then you get your answer. So it's plus 16 over 25, and then you get -77 over 75. But if you want to do this manually, you just say 3 times 25, it gives you 75. So that is your LCD. You say 75, and then you say -3 goes, 3 goes how many times into 75? 25 times. 25 times -5. So 25 times -5, it gives us -125. And then you bring down the plus, it's plus, and then you say 25 goes how many times into 75? It goes 3 times. Then it's 3 times 16, which will give us 48. And then from there you just deal with the numerator there, which will definitely give you that -77 over 75, and this is the simplest form. And then we go on to now we go on to question 3.3, and it says determine the value of the following without using a calculator. Now when they say without using a calculator, obviously you have to have those special angle triangles. So we know that we've got this triangle, which is a right angle triangle, which was like this in the beginning. So we usually use an equilateral triangle that has all sides equals to 2. Then this one is halved because we just introduced the perpendicular height between equal sides, so it's gonna bisect the third side. And then you use the theorem of Pythagoras to solve for this one. It's gonna be square root of 3. We know this one was 60, so it's gonna be 30, and this one is still 60. And then also you draw the other right angle triangle, which was a square in the beginning, and then you just introduced that diagonal. So that means this angle is going to be 45, 45, and the square obviously had 1, 1, 1, 1. So this one, you use the theorem of Pythagoras, it gives you 2. Then they said you must solve for cosec 45, cosec 45 degrees all over sine 90 multiplied by tan 60. Now we know that cosec is the reciprocal of sine. So since sine is opposite over the hypotenuse, then cosec is going to be the hypotenuse over the opposite. So the hypotenuse in this case for 45, it's this one, the hypotenuse is √2, and then obviously the opposite is going to be 1. So it's going to be √2 over 1, all that is over sine 90. We do remember the sine graph, since the sine graph is like this. So this is where our 90 is, this is our 180, and this is our 360, this is our 270. So our 90 goes with 1, so we know that it's going to be 1, and then multiplied by tan 60. So tan is opposite over the adjacent, so it's √3 over 1. So √3 over 1. And then you deal with that. Obviously 1 times √3 over 1 is just √3. So we've got √2 over 1 divided by √3 over 1. And then it's going to give us √2 multiplied by 1 over √3, which will give us √2 over √3, and that becomes your answer. So if you got this, then you've got yourself 11 marks. And now question 4. As you can see, they say in the diagram below, ACD and ADE are right angle triangles. BAE is equals to 90 degrees and BAC is equals to 30 degrees. BC is 20 units and AD equals 60 units. Now they say to you, calculate the length of AC. Now we can see AC is this one, and in this one we can see that we actually have the angle which is 30, and then we've got this 20. Now using this 30 and this 20, we can see that this one will be the opposite and this one will be the hypotenuse. So we go back to the SOHCAHTOA. Let's SOHCAHTOA. And then we know that opposite over the hypotenuse it's sine. So we can use sine 30. So sine 30 degrees is equals to 20 over AC. And then we make AC the subject. It's going to be AC is equals to 20 over sine 30. So you can just punch this on your calculator and get the answer. So it's 20 over sine 30, and it gives us 40 units. So that means AC is 40. So we can just write this here. Now we know that we've got 40 units there. Then they say find the size of C angle AD. So this is C angle AD. Now looking at this angle, we can see that this one will be the adjacent and this one will be the hypotenuse. So which one of these has the adjacent and the hypotenuse? Is obviously cos. So we are going to say cos of C angle AD is equals to the adjacent over the hypotenuse, which is 60. And then you find C angle AD, which will be what? Now you just punch that on your calculator and you get your answer. And then it's gonna be 48,19. So this is 48,19 degrees. And then now they say to you, find the length of DE. So this is our DE. So obviously you can now find this angle because they told you that this is 90. So this plus that equals 90. So this one is going to be 90 minus 30 minus 48,19. So 90 minus 30 minus 48,19 gives us 11,81. And then looking at this angle, you've got 60, which is the adjacent, and this one is the opposite. So which one is the opposite and the adjacent? It's tan. So you just say tan 11,81 is equals to the opposite, which is DE, over the adjacent, which is 60, and then you find DE, and then your DE is equals to 60 tan 11,81 degrees, which means our DE is equals to 12,55. So it's going to be 12,55 units, since it's a distance. So we've got 12,55 here. And then we go to 4.2. They say solve for x correct to one decimal place, and it's in the first quadrant. Your x is greater or equals to 0 but less than or equals to 90. So tan x is equals to 2,01, and then you just solve for x, and then it gives us what? Okay, 2,01, it gives us 63,54. Okay, so it's going to be 5 because they said to one decimal place. Then we go on to the next one. It's 5 cos x plus 2 equals 4. Now with this one, you obviously have to make cos x the subject of the formula, and then you solve for x. So you transpose the 2 to that side. It's 4 minus 2, so you've got 5 cos x equals 2, and then cos x equals 2 over 5, and as long as it's less than 1, we can solve it. So x is equals to what? And then you punch that on your calculator and you get your answer. So it gives us 2 over 5 there, and then we find 66,42, and as you can see, so they said to one decimal place, so it's 66,4. And then we move on to the last one, 4.2.3. It's cosec x, all that is over 2 equals 3. And then obviously here you're just going to multiply by 2 both sides, which is the reciprocal of 1 over 2, since we have a denominator there. So this one cancels this one, or they divide each other. So you've got cosec x is equals to 6. And then you say 1 over, well, it's the reciprocal of sine, by the way. Cosec is the reciprocal of sine. So let's rather use sine there. Let me erase this. So here we've got 1 over sine x equals 6, and then this is over 1. You can just write the reciprocal, so sine x equals 1 over 6, and then your x is equals to, you just punch your calculator there and you find the value of x. So your x is gonna be, this is 1 over 6, gives you 59, so it's gonna be 6 degrees. And then if you got that, you've gotten yourself 15 marks.